This is KLEAN Radio.
Welcome, everybody out there listening to KLEAN Radio on our flagship station, Talk Radio 790 KABC and iHeartRadio. Also, everybody out there listening on FM News 101 KXL Portland, Oregon, AM 1370 KAST, The Cast, Astoria, Oregon, on World Wide Web at KLEANradio.com. That's a website that actually works. So I'd like to welcome everybody out there listening. And in the studio tonight, we have an amazing guest. She's been in everything from Blow to wife swaps with the love of her life, the great Andy Dick. Let's welcome to KLEAN Radio, Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. God, I feel like a little, I'm nervous. That's all I can say is I'm really nervous. And, you know, the love of my life is not Andy Dick.
It's okay. I mean, nobody's judging you.
No, so we went out. I will always love Andy. I guess we should just nip this in the ass, right?
Nips us in the butt.
I mean, butt.
Yes.
Oops, sorry. Whoops. We're linked to have been dating, and we've been really the best of friends. He's my angel. He inspired me on Sober House to lose weight and to get back into acting. And I had no idea, Judah, how to even go about that. You know, I was 267 pounds back then. And
yeah, I met you when you were
a
little more rotund.
A little bit more voluptuous.
Yes.
I was heavy. I was fat.
Yeah.
You know, and I, called Hollywood a chapter, and I just never knew how I was going to get back into this. And because of Andy and his inspiration, for me to do well and do all this stuff, I've changed my life completely. And, now I'm acting again. I'm,
Yeah, you're doing amazing. But one of the actually interesting things is because when I did meet you, you were getting sober, and you were sober at that time, but you were also heavier. And it's got to be really rough. You got sober in Los Angeles, and where, and I always sort of say when I moved out here, I had 5.5 years sober, and people with one day actually look better, I thought, than I did at 5.5 years sober.
It's amazing how the people look out here. I live part-time lately in Delray, and all these kids are so gorgeous. Like, I don't understand, I came from being discovered from the modeling world and being a supermodel, and, everything was always about my outsides to, gaining over 100 pounds. I've now lost 140 pounds, but gaining that weight and then getting sober first in a city like Los Angeles, and then also all about appearances and what you look like and, who you blow and what you do. I mean, I'm sorry. Oops. And that wasn't my story this time around, and I had lost everything. You're referring
to the movie Blow.
Yes.
That you were in, yes, with Johnny Depp.
Yes, absolutely. But, it's been a really hard process, like trying to get sober and doing it in a city like this. And I had to move away to, Pasadena, which I thought was Egypt. But I did. I thought it was like so far away. But, I had to get
just
some foundation.
Just so the people out there that are listening, Pasadena is about 10 miles from Los Angeles.
It's a good 25-minute drive. But
that's with traffic, okay? You make it sound like you decided to make this earth-shattering move to Saskatchewan.
If I could have, I would have. I would have done whatever it took. And I got to tell you, the people in Pasadena and getting that foundation outside of Los Angeles itself, like Hollywood, was so amazing for me. If I had to go to Guam, I would have gone to Guam, whatever it took this time around, because I was desperate.
Okay, so I want to talk about that a little bit because, by the way, if you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. We're in the studio tonight with one of my favorite people most of the time, Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez. And it's just a really amazing person. I've known you for a long time. But one of the things, I got a call before from somebody, a friend of mine, one of my closest friends that's been in and out of the rooms of many 12-step rooms for many years. And I know for both of us, we're not first timers. It took us a little bit to get sober. And I know you've been in and out. And now you have about 7 years.
I've got almost, in January, I'll have 8 years. So.
And what was it like? What happened?
Oh, God.
Because people out there that are struggling, that are listening, they're going to, a lot of people don't realize that sometimes it takes more than one shot.
Yeah.
To the family members out there that are listening, when your son or loved one relapses, you can come back. And this isn't, we always welcome you back.
Yeah. I mean, thank God for the people that did welcome me back. I feel that, especially I think in any generation or any decades, like the pressure of who you're around in the society and stuff. And, I never thought like when I took that first drink at 12 years old that I was, I didn't know I had a gene and it was hereditary and that I had it and that it was going to awaken the beast. I just wanted a quick relief and be like a child again, even though I was still a child, but I lost all choice, at that point in what was going on in my life. But, I didn't realize, getting thrown into the modeling world literally from one day to the next, being on, this supermodel girl and on covers of magazines. And, I turned 14. I was 13 turning 14. And my body started developing. Like I started getting hips. I started getting taller. I got a little bit of boobies and shoulders. And all of a sudden they were like, you're too fat. Take laxatives, do this, drink. And then cocaine came into my life. And it helped me for a while. And alcohol was, it was glamorous for the world I was living in. And I never knew that, yet again, it was like I was getting more and more of my disease. And I've been trying to get sober now. I'm 15 years getting into it. I started when I was 21, actually going into 16 years. And it's not, it hasn't been a pretty thing for me. And I had to lose everything. And when I relapsed yet again after getting sober and having a couple of years, like a year and a half or so, I couldn't sleep. My doctor gave me Ambien and it awakened the beast. And then I was taking, at the end, I was taking a whole bottle of Ambien every night. And I didn't even realize I was relapsed. The doctor said take 15 milligrams instead of 10. And I was in blackouts. And, I on paper, my life looked amazing the day that I relapsed. On June 24, 2004, my life was beautiful on the outside, and I had such a void and such a hole, and I was always masking it, and I ended up in the psych ward at Los Encinas, January 15th, 2006 is my sobriety date, and I hung myself. So, and it's crazy because, they predicted me dead and I was hopeless. I was called a hopeless case, and I was just kind of kicked to the curb from so many people, and it was people like you that gave me love and hope.
And if you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio, so please give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We're in the studio tonight with Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez, who, that's really an amazing story. And I know a lot of your story. I there's so much. Sometimes I do forget some of the parts, but you're right. You were in Los Encinas and you had just given up, and by some freak, miraculous thing, it didn't work.
It didn't work. Nothing was working. Like that was the thing when I came to. I'm in a 5-point strap with an enema in my booty, and literally that's my bottom, which is kind of funny in a weird way, but it's also very tragic because I was so upset that I was still alive. Like I couldn't even do that correctly, and I know that like that wasn't. That day that I drank when I was 12 or, at 17 or 18 or at 20 or at 25, like my life wasn't about I wanted to die. My life was just like, that's how I managed to survive.
And you owe a lot to Dr. Drew. You actually have an amazing Dr. Drew story about him walking in on you while you were naked or just something. Well, it was just a funny, crazy story.
No, I love Dr. Drew. I got to tell you, I hated with a passion Dr. Drew, and he actually hated me. And I was just, he says, I'm one of his top 3 worst female patients in his history of practice. And
I'd love to know the top 2.
I know. Well, thank God I wasn't malice. I wasn't a malice person. I just wanted reactions. And like, he was the only person that wasn't giving reactions to me. All the other doctors, I was kind of like manipulating. And I just remember like, he's an internist, so he has to check you out. And I was like, I think I have cancer. And I lifted my top, and there's always a nurse behind him. And he'd have to, squeeze the boobs and see if there was anything. He's like, nothing. And I was like waiting for him to give me like, red face or a smile like you are. And then another time I like stood up and he's sitting in his chair and I like pulled my pants down and I spread my butt and I was like, do I have herpes? Herpes, do I have hemorrhoids? I didn't mean herpes because I don't have that. And he just looked, and he was like, no, don't have it. Like nothing. He would give me nothing,
Okay, let's get back to you dating Andy Dick. No, I'm joking. I'm joking around.
I love Andy. God bless him. I'm so scared.
And he's one of those I pray for him too. And, as long as he's alive, there's a chance.
That's the key.
Yeah. And I think that's the key. A lot of people out there do have to realize that if you're struggling, no matter what you're going through, if you're not dead, you're still in the game.
Yeah, you really still are in the game, and I know you see it all the time. I see it all the time. I have, loved ones that have gone through it. I have friends. I have people that I just happily, meet on streets or via internet, and they change their lives. There's hope out there. There is miracles. I do believe in second chances.
So I want to say something pretty cool because I was actually out to dinner last night. I had really fun. A girlfriend of mine, her friend's birthday party, and I was talking to one of her friends. She's a huge fan of yours from from Celebrity Rehab and Sober House and all this stuff. And it's funny because she's not, she's a normie, she's a regular person, and I was like, that's really cool. She'll be on the show tomorrow night. But whatever people want to say about Celebrity Rehab or rehab and any of that stuff, you have helped people. You have brought it to the public stage. The show might not have always it wasn't always about the people on the show getting help necessarily. It was the people that are watching that this was they were finding it out by that.
I mean, I'm honored to have been on that show, and if we did another season, I would do it again. And the reason why is because every time I did it again, I learned something more. I learned something new. I got to understand a little bit more of the disease, And I also got to say, I'm so honored, and I say this with pride, and I don't normally say things with pride, that I have been part of the movement of awareness of alcohol and drug addiction, mental disorders, or any other kind of thing that you can recover and overcome, just like this show.
Yes. So if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. Let's get an old friend of the show. Let's get a Heather from Vermont. Welcome back to KLEAN Radio, Heather. How are you?
It depends on the day you ask me.
Well, I'm asking
Heather.
you today.
Well, I'm not doing so great today, but I have been doing well. But before I get into that, Jennifer, I just wanted to say how much I admire the work that you do, and I, loved seeing you in both Sober House and Celebrity Rehab.
Thank you.
And Wife Swap, if you missed it.
Oh my gosh.
And also, I wanted to compliment you on your weight loss.
Thank
weight
you.
is something that I struggle with, and I'm just starting to get back into the gym and doing water aerobics and stuff.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really incredible. Congratulations.
And Heather, just so you know, when I first met Jennifer, I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but she was rotund.
I was pushing a size 18, and I understand weight. I had eating disorders. I've gone from anorexic to bulimia to binging, and bulimia is binging and purging, and obesity now. So I really understand this, and it's such a process, and coming forward and talking, being an advocate about it, and just trying to be the best shape you can be in any way, any size you are, is really, amazing. And I applaud you for doing something about how you feel.
And Heather, you've been sober a long time. So what's going on today?
It's just, this kind of year when it gets colder, I just want to isolate more and just stay inside and have the covers over my head and kind of, isolate and binge watch TV.
Which is something we were talking about last week on last week's shows. I mean, I have to pray to not be a binge Netflix watcher. It's, these too many good shows on Netflix. And Heather, it's hard back east. It gets cold, but it sounds like you're getting out of the house a little bit, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I have work, and I love work. I totally am very happy with the work situation, and I was sick with a cold, so I went for about 10 days without going to the gym or going to any meetings or anything. So, I haven't been calling the telephone numbers that I'd gotten. To catch you up, Jennifer, I just barely moved back to Vermont in last January, and so I was having difficulty connecting to people in my area.
Plus, you're going through traumatic with the husband who was about to be ex-husband, who's now you guys are trying to reconcile again.
Yeah, we're trying to reconcile, and Jennifer, since you haven't been here before, some of the difficulty we were having, he was admitted that he had been picked up drinking on and off again for the last few months before we decided to separate. But he's gotten, back on track, and he's doing 12-step for the first time.
Did you have to put your foot down and put your boundaries on with that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, basically, he said that he wanted to, get separated, divorced, and I said okay, and then he tried to change his mind 2 days later, and I'm like, no. And then later, when he started going to meetings, he admitted it. And I said, well, do what you need to do, and I need to see that you're able to maintain your new behavior. Mm-hmm. And, he's doing what he needs to do. He's he has a sponsor, and he's starting to work on his 4-step. And because he's doing that, I'm not hearing from him as much because, I'm sure I topped the list on his resentment list.
Yeah, I think I topped the list on a few people's resentment list these days, too. I think it's amazing. I got to tell you, earlier you were saying, you're telling on yourself, and I think that's really the key. And I know, Judah said you have some sobriety time.
A little over 15 years.
Oh my gosh, you have a lot of sobriety time, which is amazing. And I thank you for having that, to showing me that I can get there too. But, I think for me, it's been the key of telling on myself. And you said you're isolating, that you're not, you were sick, and like, you're not calling the people you need to. And, and you're talking about your husband doing the things he needs to do. Are you doing the things you need to do for you?
Yeah, I was before I got sick.
But
I did see him too.
And Heather, here's the thing: a lot of times, when we're, for years, this happened to me for a couple of years. Every morning, I'd go to this 7:30 in the morning 12-step meeting, literally for 2 years straight. And one day I overslept. I haven't been back to that meeting since. And because I'm very all or nothing, and I missed this one day and I overslept. But here's the thing, and not everything is, because we're alcoholics, because we have that addictive thing, so often it's all or nothing. So you don't beat yourself up, you get back to the gym and you just start from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing, and that's one of the things I'm doing with the gym. Is like, okay, if I lose weight, great, but my goal is just to be healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get those endorphins out, Heather. And we got to run, but keep us in the loop, okay?
Good luck. I can't wait to hear back.
Talk to you later. And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. That was Heather in Vermont. We're in the studio tonight with the amazingly, awesomely talented Jennifer, Easy on the Eyes, Gimenez, star of shit shows as Wife Swap. Chulo's Gone Wild. And no, I kid.
I missed that.
Yes. And also you have a new venture out called Sober Book.
I do. I have Sober Book Magazine and soberbook.com.
Right.
And I have a couple movies coming out. And I have Housewives of Beverly Hills that I may be appearing on coming out.
So that's the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
The Real Housewives.
And but it's actually really amazing because I think you're a story of, so many people that are struggling, and you just happen to be an actress. This is something you just happen to want to do, but it could be anybody that's going through something that doesn't know how they're going to start working again, that doesn't know how they're going to be doing these things. You just stayed sober, you did what you had to do, and all of a sudden, progressively, things started getting better.
Yeah, I mean, it did. You talk about that I met you about 8 years ago. I honestly know you for I know you 10, 11 years ago. I used to think you were super cool and you were always so nice to me. And I don't even know if you remember that. And I just remember because, we're all smart. We watch and look at people and observe. And you've always been so kind and gentle with everyone I see and so respectable, and I thank you for that. I want to let you know that I can see your soft heart and it's a beautiful heart. I called Hollywood chapter. They told me I could never act again. 2 years ago, I was walking down a red carpet and, I had celebrity rehab out and stuff. And I was living on a couch because I ended a bad relationship and I put my life in storage and I was renting a couch for $100 a week. And they were asking me what was my next project. And I said, I'm in movies and I'm acting again. And they were like, what? And I didn't even have an agent, and a couple months later I got one and I got a movie and then I got another one and I got another one. But before all that stuff, I do the work. I think sometimes if you just show up for the things that you're supposed to, all the other stuff comes. The dreams come,
right.
If you're working on yourself, doing the right thing, being of service, helping, everything else falls in place.
What is Sober Book?
Sober Book Magazine is an anonymous magazine, no names, no faces. It's a website first. You go to the website, you can enter, register as blah, 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 and you write your story of any adversity you've overcome, from weight loss, weight gain, eating disorders, to addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction, obviously, mental disorders, abuse, getting a job, losing a job, getting a relationship, losing the relationship, and what you went through and how you overcame it. And then I go through and then I'll say, welcome, chapter 150, and then I go through and I look at all the chapters, and we have a monthly magazine, and it's distributed in South Florida, 10,000 strong. It's free. The website's free. The magazine is free, and your story becomes a chapter in our website and in our magazine.
That was really cool. And after the break, we once a month you have a centerfold, let's say, and
I like you say centerfold. You're such a dude.
Well, it's
a celebrity feature.
A celebrity feature. You call it a celebrity feature. I call it. It's in the center, and it's a fold. So hence centerfold. And but yes, it's a celebrity feature, and we have coming up after the break one of the celebrity features.
Amazing.
Yes, and which is something I think it's really cool that what you're doing.
It's paying it forward. It's it's about people using their voice and their experience and letting people know that their experience matters. It matters to us. It matters to my team in South Florida. That's where we do it. And we want to go nationwide. We're starting to distribute a lot here too, in LA and Oregon, I think. And no, LA and Arizona and Jersey and different places. But, your story matters to us, and your story can help someone else save their lives. It makes people feel like they connect.
So anybody out there is listening that would like to talk to Jen about SoberBook or about anything, if you're struggling, give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Is it hard for you being anonymous sometimes now? How hard is it for you to go to 12-step meetings? In some ways, not because of the celebrity part, because people see you on celebrity, they might like it, they might not like it. Many people have opinions.
Well, I got to tell you, I am grateful that I broke my anonymity. I never knew it was going to be on the scale of worldwide, because before I used to be like, don't tell anyone you saw me here, like 10 years ago when I thought I was sober. Like it was all about like, the anonymous thing. For me, I broke it, and I broke it to help others, and I didn't realize it was to help others, at that time. But nowadays, if I'm with my boyfriend, who is not Andy Dick, if I'm with Dustin and we're like, say we're bickering, or if I'm with like my family and we're going through something, or if I'm just having a shitty day.
Thank you for getting bleeped, yes.
A poopy day. I'm getting these like fingers waving. A poopy day. Like I can't go and just say like, I feel like blah, and it's hard sometimes. And other times I'm just grateful that I get the second chance and that people come up to me and they, can relate.
So if you're in your car at home or just walking out and you're listening to us right now, you most likely have questions about addiction issues or comments on the topics we're discussing. You don't have to go on air to get your questions answered or share your comments. But if you want to, that's great. We're in the studio tonight with the awesomely talented Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez from SoberBook.com. We're going to have the celebrity fold from this month's issue, Jennifer Ketchum, after the break.
Jenny!
And if you're out there, give us a call. It's 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Go to KLEANRadio.com, a website that works.
Are you or someone you care about addicted to drugs or alcohol? Addiction ruins lives and destroys families. Bring an end to the pain and suffering by calling KLEAN Treatment Centers. KLEAN has helped people from around the world break free by not only treating the addiction, but the underlying causes and providing vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean with no gimmicks and no false promises. If you need immediate assistance or just have questions, call KLEAN Treatment Centers for guidance. A much better life awaits.
Welcome back to KLEAN Radio. We're in the studio tonight with the amazingly, awesomely talented Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez, star of Wife Swap.
You will not let me live that down. Like, I just got to say on a side note, like when I walked in, he's like, so how's Andy? And I'm like, that's so like early 2012. I love Andy. I will always love Andy. I wish him... He's like family to me, and we're always going to be best friends. I'm now in a new relationship.
That's great, yes.
It's like a very solid, scary thing to go through,
It can't be scarier than dating Andy Dick. I mean,
well,
like
this
literally
one is
you
serious.
went
We
for
were
this.
just having fun. Like, we were just having a good time. He was doing really well, and it just kind of became something, and then it's not. And now, like, this is, being in a real relationship is really scary. Like, we're like, Heather was talking about. Does he
judge you because you dated Andy Dick?
God, if he were to judge me because I was dating Andy Dick, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Like, I think I have so many other things to judge me on.
No, that's pretty much.
Come on.
No.
There's so much worse. Trust me.
Okay, let's get to a very. First of all, we're going to be on in Seattle very soon, and she's going to be on the air when we get there. We're actually doing a pretty cool tour, and Seattle is going to be one of our first locations. So let's get to your celebrity fold of the month from soberbook.com. Let's welcome Jennifer Ketchum to KLEAN Radio.
Jenny, I'm Jenny. I'm Jenny. I'm Jenny. I'm Jenny.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, Jen, thank you for coming on KLEAN Radio. We'll talk to you later. No, joking.
Hi, honey.
I know, right? And same. Thanks, guys. Well, Jen, first I have to say I had no idea that your middle name was easy on the eyes. I feel like that didn't fit in any of the little box print things that you have to write your name in. So
thank you. I know it's been really hard my whole life growing up with that. No, isn't that a great nickname? Hi, honey.
Yeah, I love that. Hi, beauty. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good.
So Jennifer Ketchum, let's get to you. So Jen's in Jen, this thing you've created, soberbook.com, is incredibly awesome. And inside this month of October is celebrity Jennifer Ketchum. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Jen Ketchum?
I am clean and sober, which is wonderful, and I'm very blessed for that. I am a recovering addict and alcoholic. I am a recovering sex addict and was in the adult business for 8 years, so 2001, 2009. I'm just trying to give you like the quickest synopsis of my adolescence and early young adulthood. Adult business for 8 years, and then went on sex rehab with Dr. Drew, and then did Sober House, where I met Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez, and talk about some life changes. I ended up writing a book, and I finished my bachelor's degree, got that in psychology, and now I'm at University of Washington getting my master's in social work, and just a complete 180 from when I was using and abusing myself and everything that I could get my hands on. And, being a part of recovery and being able to share my story, whether in the context of my memoir, I Am Jenny, or in Sober Book, which was such a refreshing way to reapproach being able to share myself and my story. I think that has been one of the biggest healing things for me, at least, and it certainly has been an open door and connected me to a lot of people and their stories. So it's really neat, the way that this Sober Book is working out, at least in my life. I think it's probably working out pretty well in Jen's life and everybody who reads it as well. But I know that for me,
we're having Jen. Something happened with your phone for a second. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh, sure.
There you go.
Much better.
Okay, won't move.
By the way, if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. We're in the studio tonight with Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez and Jennifer in college, Ketchum.
Graduated college.
But she's going for her master's now.
Now she's, that's true.
Yeah.
See, Jen, I listen to both Jens. Okay, Jen? So Jen, let's get a little bit, okay, so you were in the porn industry for a long, for 8 years. And you got sober and you went through, I love that you went through sex rehab and then you went through celebrity rehab.
No, Sober House.
Sober House. Did you stay sober after Sober House, or was that?
Yeah, I was sober for 1.5 years after I left Sober House. And so since I went for sex rehab, I thought that it was all about sex and cocaine and that was the problem.
Right.
And, thank God I started drinking again, because it became very apparent very quickly that it's all the problem, and that me having any sort of mood-altering substance, even caffeine, I think, is becoming a problem, because I can't stop grinding my teeth, and I just feel like I'm on drugs again. But that's
it's one thing at a time, Jen. It's one thing at a time.
Exactly. So, I was sober for about 1.5 years, and then I started drinking again. And before I started drinking, I really tried to take the most responsible way about it. I didn't just start drinking. I talked to my therapist. I talked to my mentor. I talked to my parents. I talked to my fiance's parents. I talked to my sponsor. I talked to everybody in my life that had been with me through the whole process. And the majority of them, whether or not it was because I had already made up my mind that I was going to drink again, or whether they actually believed that I wasn't, the majority of them didn't think I was an alcoholic. And so probably
really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's easy to start to differentiate between, like, well, I am drinking alcoholically or abusively because I'm prostituting myself and because I've done too much cocaine. So when you start framing things and like separating them and compartmentalizing them, it's easy to start thinking and to convince other people that like, no,
I was just going to say that, the convincing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was just, you know.
You have a pretty amazing story, though. Isn't it something to do with your director that you got you help? Or what was I reading? I know I read that. I could have sworn that.
She has a phenomenal story.
I know she has a phenomenal story, but I'm trying to get the major.
No, definitely not a director got me help. I was a porn director, so maybe that is the...
Yes, that's why I got my facts confused.
It's okay. It's a classic gender stereotype mistake. You know?
I definitely own up to as many of those mistakes, Jen, as humanly possible. So... You know,
she gave up everything, though, and that's a lot of times. A lot of people have a really hard time to giving up the lifestyle around with what goes with drinking or using.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think so many people have a hard time. She gave up her car and
was taking the bus and wrote about it and taking riding her bike. Like,
and where could people read that? By the way, it's called, your book is called Jenny I Am.
I Am Jenny, which is just like Jenny I Am. Yeah.
I'm
going to write a book, and my title's going to be like Jenny I Am.
Yeah, there you go. And then you guys could both write a book together. So how long's it been now?
Since I've been out of the adult industry since April 6, 2009. My sobriety date is sorry, my brain just stopped. January 21st of 2012.
Yay!
And you know,
that's an amazing story. And but one of the things I actually want to know is how many people in the adult industry, because I know a lot of people are trying to put their way through college. But it's a bad joke. But
I just looked at you like,
no.
Craig?
How many people in the industry would you say are addicted to drugs and alcohol?
I don't really know. I mean, what's really sad about the adult industry is that you don't really get to know anybody beyond what they are willing to show you on set. And in all likelihood, they're not going to reveal whether or not they have drug issues or if they had a bad day or if they're not horny, because it's not really going to be good for their career. You know, like nobody wants an unhappy porn star. And so, you know, if your drug issues get in the way to the point where you are unhireable, then you won't be hired. But that happens relatively frequently. You know, I saw a lot of girls go in and out, but you know, to generalize and classify all adult porn stars as users would be inaccurate.
You know, I think it's amazing. Like Jenny kind of hit a lot of things, but like one of the things is like, even when people stop drinking and doing drugs, like you're still left with a lot of things. And like, you know, she thought, it was because of the porn industry or all that stuff and the cocaine, that's what led me. Maybe I'm not an alcoholic. And then, you know, you get to this place where you're like, you know, if you relapse or you don't drink and you go through it, you're like, but I'm sober this amount of time. You know, I still have this other problem going on. And it's like, I think you start addressing all your problems as you stay longer sober. You know, I mean, that's been kind of
more will be revealed, and that's even
always revealed, and it's painful.
But that's a big reason, Jen, that a lot of people have a hard time staying sober is because when they hit that pain, so many addicts and alcoholics go out and use because they think the pain's going to kill them.
Yeah, or they act. I think also acting out is using to me too. And I'm not saying, you relapse, go count your days over. But like if you have like, you know, if I were to have men issues or a guy has female issues or you have an eating disorder or you have this, like I had to address a lot of things and it couldn't do it. God forbid I did it all at once.
By the way, if you just tuned into KLEAN Radio, we're on the phone with Jennifer Ketchum.
Really quick, I just got to tell you, I was thinking like when I started Sober Book, I was thinking like who has like really powerful stories that I can have write, you know, as a celeb feature or just write like, you know, I have a Jen's Corner and I write about a little bit of my life every month, you know, little moments. And I was like, I got to ask Jenny. And she wrote this beautiful story. And that's where the celebrity feature came from. And Kristen Johnston, also from Third Rock from the Sun, an amazing advocate of recovery. Her and I are now good girlfriends. And she I love her, and she also like wrote a story, and like all of a sudden it's been inspiring stories, and it's because of Jenny that all this happened. I actually flew her for our launch party in July.
I think it's an amazing story that Jennifer, I will have my master's soon, Ketchum has, because
2.5 years ahead of me.
But here's the thing: that's the amazing thing about sobriety, and you know, you just happen to be in the adult, and I don't even look at that really as your story. I look at the story of somebody that had an addiction problem, and, you know, you're still very young, obviously, and that you're working on your life. And there's so many people that get sober. You know, what's the first thing somebody, you know, often we hear is somebody go, well, why? Well, you know, what's the point? You know, when I see people, when I hear
I'm going to be
people,
boring, or I have no future.
and when I hear
it's
your
horrible.
story and Jennifer Gimenez's story, it's so the opposite. You know, you're how cool is it that you're going for your master's degree?
Yeah, I'm pretty thrilled. I mean,
Dreams.
it is the opposite of where I ever thought I would be. You know, before I checked into sex rehab, which I did only because I thought it would further my career in the adult industry, I thought that my life was limited to occupations that I could get in the adult industry, you know, and I was desperate to get out of in front of the camera and behind the camera in some sort of managerial position, because I knew that selling my body was a really taxing way to make money. And, you know, it works for some people. It doesn't for a lot of people. And I know that for me, it took a really big psychological toll. And, you know, to think that 5 years ago I was checking into rehab as a joke, and now I am, you know, a graduate student at one of the top social work schools in the country. I mean, I'm just beyond blessed and beyond astounded. And, you know, as much as I think the really amazing part about the word recovery is that, I mean, I hate to be cliche and stupid, but there's no I in recovery. You know, this, I had nothing to do with this. I mean, there are so many people in my life that have propped me up and held me up on their shoulders. And that is the only way that I have been able to get through any of it, is that I finally let myself be vulnerable enough to be helped. And that's really when my life started to change. And
You nailed it.
Here we are, you know.
I mean,
Jen, Jen Ketchum, we're going to be on in Seattle pretty soon. We're going to be there. I would love for you to be one of our first guests when we actually
I love you.
are in the studio in Seattle.
I would love that.
And then I'll be able to say more jokes, and without the risk of scarily offending you or our listeners out there, because she'll realize she could run away from me or hit me.
yeah, no, it's easy to hit him. It's no big deal.
And
Don't worry about
Jen,
it.
how do people find your stuff? IamJenny.com?
Yeah, you can go to I Am Jenny. You can order I Am Jenny on Amazon. I think Barnes & Noble is still carrying it. I haven't written. I've taken a big break from my blog for the past year because I've been trying to really reconnect with what's in front of me and the people that I can connect with directly. And so you won't find any updated blogs there. But you know, if you really want to reach out to me, I'm sure that there is a way that you can find. You know, my Twitter, Becoming Jenny. The blog is Becoming Jenny, and then the book is I Am Jenny.
That's awesome, Jen.
I have to say, like, you know, a lot of people that we were talking about sober rehab and all those sober houses, it's people like her that keep me going and keep wanting to pay it forward and keep allowing me to want to be a stronger voice.
I agree, because it's pretty.
I have the chills. She is like, I feel like a proud mom or a big sister, but I'll say a proud mom. Like I'm teary-eyed just thinking about like the beauty of that. Like, and when I hear people say that their lives changed, like she is such an inspiration.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. And Jen, before I let you go, did you get into Wife Swap?
You are amazing. You know what, John? I would never swap you as my knight. I would never need to swap you as my wife.
I know.
I love you very much.
When did you get swapped with Andy Dick?
I didn't swap. I just came in as the quote unquote girlfriend. We're really good friends.
Jen Ketchum, we got to run, but we'll talk to you soon.
Bye,
Thank
Jenny.
you
I
so
love
much.
you, honey.
That was Jen Ketchum from your this month's soberbook.com.
Yeah.
And
she's such an inspiration. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, did anyone, you know, don't you feel like exploiting people, or did anyone really stay sober? This girl changed her whole entire life and is the woman that she's supposed to be, is becoming the woman she's supposed to be. I'm still sober from that show. So, yes, it's made a difference.
And one of the things I think is amazing, and I'd love to get people's thoughts on this, is because we all do a lot of stuff when we're drinking and using, and, you know, we do a lot of stuff. And that's one of the biggest reasons we do have steps. But, you know, to people out there, it's no matter what you've done, you could overcome it. It doesn't really matter, you know.
A lot of times people go, oh, if you knew my life, you know,
Right.
I'm not ashamed of my past anymore. I used to be so
Except for
ashamed
Wife
of it.
Swap.
except for wife swap, I'm not ashamed of my past, because that past, if people, I would say, if they only knew who I really was, they wouldn't want to love me. At the end of the day, we just want to be loved, and I'm not ashamed of who I was. And I'm certainly not ashamed of who I'm becoming because of that, and I don't think we need to stay stuck anymore. And I think that if anyone's out there feeling like if you knew my life, you would drink too. I probably would. You probably would have drank if you had my life too. But you don't have to do this anymore alone. You can not drink one moment at a time.
So give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We're in the studio tonight with the amazingly talented Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez, who's got a lot going on. And one of the reasons I love having you on the show is because you've really built a life. It's the life you want. And people out there listening, this isn't, you don't have, this is all about building your life. I can't, and a lot of people, your life isn't a lot of people's life, but it's the life you've wanted and it's the life you're working for. And so people out there that are losing hope, I promise you that these things are available.
Yeah, no, and it's true. It is available. Like, I know, I used to talk about, like, I think I want to be in a relationship. Like, I want that. I want to have kids. I want to be a mother. I want to be, a wife. I want to be in a healthy relationship. I want to be, an entrepreneur. I want to write books. There's so many things I want to do. And it's like, I can't sit here and just say, I have to work towards it. And I am working towards it. Some days, like Heather was talking about, I wish I could sleep and I wish I could hide underneath. And if anyone, and I'm like, oh my God, when is it going to end? And I don't say that all the time anymore. I say, I deserve a great life. I deserve an abundance of happiness. And it's a lot of things. And, it's constantly doing inner work, and if I'm doing something that's not right for me, I'll stop doing it. I think that I believe that the fantasy exists, whatever your fantasy is. And I mean, in a healthy way, like you can dream big. That's what you guys, people like you, Judah, who I lean towards as a tower, like you have saved my life time and time over again. I remember when I was going through that 2011 was such a dark time for me, and I was 5 years sober, and I was starting all over. And I would just call you, and I would be in my car in fetal position. I'd be like, sob, and you're like, "What's up?" Like, and you're like so not emotional. At least you don't act it, but you are, because you'd be like, "Kid, you'll be fine. You'll get through this. Where are you? I'll meet you at a meeting, kid. Don't worry." And I just like, being all dramatic and like bawling hysterically, and you'd be like, "You're fine." Like, and I know that you're not that guy, but you gave me that time, and it is like what Jenny was talking about, that recovery. Like, I'm going through really tough times personally right now with family stuff. And like, I thank God I have towers to lean on right now. Thank God, I have a boyfriend, I have a best friend, I have other best friends. I have people, like, I'm starting to share about it.
You're breaking a lot of hearts by telling people you have a boyfriend. Because I think when people read that you broke up with Andy Dick, they said, "Oh my God, she's available." Now you're like ruining everybody's fantasy out there. Rand is very upset that you have a new boyfriend.
Oh my God, you guys are hysterical. You're really funny. Oh, we got a sound effect.
We're all devastated. Steve over there behind the boards, devastated.
Well, he's a lucky guy then. He's a lucky guy, and I'm a lucky girl right now.
But there's no ring yet, so
there ain't a ring on my phone.
Yeah, so there's still hope for people.
But I did get a diamond bracelet. I got a beautiful gift.
That's really sweet. This side note, but does he happen to be sober, or is he?
He's a great guy. I won't. If he was, I wouldn't tell you. It's not for me to break. And if he,
you won't tell me his full name on the air. No, I'm joking.
I'm like, I'll do it. I'll say that. No. I mean, he's a wonderful guy. He's like you.
Oh, wow.
From the East Coast.
And you don't mean he's like me. He's just from the East Coast.
And he's like,
And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio, give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We're in the studio tonight with Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez. You have a lot going on. You have a couple movies coming out, too?
I do. I have Chastity Bites is going on VOD in November, and then it's being released in February, and then Birthday Cake is winning all these festivals, as well as Chastity Bites is, but Birthday Cake is probably going to come out like April or May of next year in theaters. So I'm really excited. We're winning like all these awards again. And, Groom's Cake won 16 out of 17 awards. And then I'm going to be, on that new show coming out. Well, it's not a new show on Bravo. And I'm shooting another one. And I'm working my tush off in Florida, which I'm part-time at on Sober Book. And I'm in the midst of, yet again, trying to changed the formats of my book, and still working, being an advocate for recovery. And I take care of my mom, and I don't sleep, and I'm on planes a lot.
And again, what is Sober Book?
Soberbook.com is a magazine and a website about any adversity that you've overcome, and you're just sharing your story.
So it doesn't just have to be about addiction.
No, it could be about how I lost a job, how I got the job. Some people say I'm still in addiction and I don't know how to quit. Or someone came out about incest, being an incest survivor. Someone, there's a military mom from England talked about what it was like being a mom of a son in the military. Like, you can talk about anything, and we don't edit at all. We just remove names and institutions if you do write about that. But we just want to hear your voice and your story, because again, it makes a difference. And I'm just, I also have people like Brandy's actually in Brandy Glanville from the Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's in the November issue. Her story is so powerful, and I'm not just endorsed. Like, I don't have people that are just sober, like being in the celebrity feature. Like, Brandy talks her truth. And it makes me cry reading her story. And, she says that she's overcome a lot of things, and it's not about sobriety, just sobriety. That's the key thing, is she's overcome, going through a divorce, overcome other obstacles. And she writes about it and talks about it very brutally and honesty. And I'm just really grateful that she partook in this. And I have a lot of other celebrities that are now wanting to attach themselves to this. So I'm happy about that. I also started doing the e-cigs.
Yes, the True Blue.
No, this is Bloog, B-L-O-O-G.
Is that the one Steven Dorff is?
No, he does Blue, but I'm doing Bloog, and I'm learning, I'm cutting down. I quit for 4 days. I quit smoking, and then I had a lot of stuff going on, and I was traveling. I'm like, I'm not going to be a crazy girl on the planes, or like having a nervous breakdown alone. So, out in the real world. So I decided that I'm kind of doing in between. I went 2 days without not smoking, and then I just smoked today.
And it's called Bloog.
Why are you laughing?
Because I don't want to say, because I don't want to ruin your anything.
You laughed, and it was ruining the whole entire thing, which I thought was rude.
Just I want everybody. I want everybody to know out there, because you have so many Twitter followers that after the shows, sometimes when we go back and forth, your Twitter followers feel the need to defend you. I'm joking about you being on Wife Swap and you dating Andy Dick. Please tell that to your fans.
Why are you getting harassed? I haven't.
I'm after the show. I have a bad feeling, a really bad feeling. And if you just tuned in and listening to KLEAN Radio, let's go quickly to Ty in Washington. Welcome to KLEAN Radio, Ty.
Hey, how's it going? I can't believe I just got on here. I've been listening to you guys for like an hour.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Anyways, you guys have remarkable stories. I think it's really intriguing to listen to people and learn a little more than I already know. I've been struggling with, should I be all out there, or should I be anonymous about
Be however you want. With? It's on you.
Balls to the wall.
Anyways, I've been a raging heroin addict for about 3 years now, and I'm really, I may sound like a happy person, but a lot of the time I'm just really down and out.
If you've been using heroin for 3 years, Ty, I don't expect you to be a happy person.
Yeah,
exactly. And but the thing that's most frustrating about it is it's been on and off for 3 years. I mean, I had a clean stint for about almost a year, like 8 months, 9 months, and then all of a sudden I met this girl, and she was really tugging on my emotions, and I just went down into the depths.
That's what women do, Ty. That's what women do.
Romance and finance, man, I tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Ty, whereabouts in Washington are you?
Fisher's Landing area.
Do you have any interest in being sober?
Yes, I do. I really have, and I'm just really hurting people close to me, and it's just.
And you're hurting yourself, Ty, and you deserve to give yourself a break. You deserve to give yourself a chance.
And Ty, the thing that scares me most about heroin and IV drug use is that at any moment that could be your last moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't want to see that for you. We have an amazing place in Washington. I'm not trying to recruit you to come there, but it is a really amazing place. If you're interested, we do have, we do take insurance. We're very affordable, and I really don't want to see you hurt yourself.
Yeah, no, me either. I mean, the other day it really scared me because I got, they call it pins and needles. You do it too much at once.
Right.
It just kind of rushes through your veins, and it's like, I don't know exactly why it makes it so painful, but tips of my fingers, and my whole head was like, it's like a bunch of needles going into your skin. And I fell asleep. And I woke up, and I had drooled all over myself, and I had, didn't even realize how long I had been out for. And I know it was light when I had fallen asleep, and it was dark. And, any time I could have been, walked up on, somebody could have taken advantage of the situation, maybe even called the cops. They ruined my record. I don't even have a speeding ticket on my record, thankfully. And I really want to keep it like that, and I really want to change my life before anything dramatic happens.
You know what's scary is that, I understand where you're at. I understand that scariness in that place, but, you're high functioning right now, and that's kind of scary. Like, you don't have any bad records, and all this stuff, but, at the end of the day, it sounds like you're broken and shattered inside.
I am, and that's what people get confused.
And I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Ty, here's the thing. Do you want to get help?
Yeah, I do want to get help. I would love help.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what. You're going to stay on the line. I'm going to put you on the phone with my producer, and we're going to try to get you help tonight.
Okay.
Okay, but you got to make the call. I'm going to put you on hold, but you have to make the call. And
I wish you all
We
the
have
luck.
a facility that's pretty amazing up there in Washington, and I beg of you, once you talk to Rand, to give us that call.
Ty, if a girl like me can do it, I promise you can do this. You can get through this. I promise you that.
I know. I'm just getting so frustrated, man. It's like third.
Well, because you're in that vicious, Ty, you're in that vicious cycle where you can't imagine life with it, and you can't imagine life without it, which basically means you're screwed. And I hope that word got on the air. Ty, I got to run, but please stay on hold, okay?
Hang in there, honey.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ty. And that's addiction. That sums up addiction. For the past 3 years, he's been in and out trying to manage. You can't manage. At one time heard
You lose.
Yeah.
You lose if you try to manage drugs or alcohol. Okay?
One of the best ways I've ever heard somebody describe alcoholism, and I think I've said this on the air, it's like having sex with a gorilla. You're not done till the gorilla's done.
Yeah. And
that's really what Ty's going through right now, and I hope the gorilla's done with Ty. Jen, easy on the eyes, Gimenez. It's always great to see you. Tell us quickly,
you.
Soberbook.com?
Soberbook.com.
What else?
And going to be on a new show on Bravo again, another season. Housewives, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'll be on In and Out. And I have Chastity Bites coming out. And then later on next year, I have Bloog. And next year, I'll have Birthday Cake.
You got to love Bloog. And I want to thank everybody out there listening.
Thank you, Judah. I love you.
The show's over. World Class Addiction is available. World Class Addiction Assistance is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at KLEANradio.com. That's clean with a K, or go to KLEANTreatmentCenter.com. It's a healthcare website that actually works. I'd like to thank everybody out there for listening tonight. I want to thank all the people that put on the show, and I want to thank Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez.
I want to come back.
Jen Ketchum, you'll be back.
Okay.
And if you want immediate help, call 888-601-6040. Bye-bye.
Are you or someone you care about addicted to drugs or alcohol? Addiction ruins lives and destroys families. Bring an end to the pain and suffering by calling KLEAN Treatment Centers. KLEAN has helped people from around the world break free by not only treating the addiction, but the underlying causes and providing vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean with no gimmicks and no false promises. If you need immediate assistance or just have questions, call KLEAN Treatment Centers for guidance. A much better life awaits.